business is obviously very difficult, but going the kind of direct to consumer e-commerce route kind of has its own
So
complexities. And I
there's an
know,
old saying in business, great people and talent is hard to find. It's even harder to keep them. And you essentially you pay for what you
Not only
get. So
that,
you
we found, a company that aligns with our patriotism, aligns with our work ethic, aligns with, honoring hardworking Americans.
all right, I'm here with Brian and Greg Dolbo from 13 Supplies, and just wanted to ask you guys a list of questions just to hear about your experience from working with us here at Sulka Search, soon to be Sulka Labs. We're rebranding. That's kind of separate from this, but would love for you guys to just kind of give the people an overview of the brand itself, like talk about 13 Supplies, what you guys sell, and then we can kind of go from there.
So 13 Supplies was founded because of necessity. I do pest control on farms across the state of Ohio, and I could not find anything to keep my truck clean according to my standards. So we developed 13 Supplies. And Brian, my son, and I have always wanted to do something together in business, and this seemed to be a good avenue and a good fit for both of us. And so that's why we got started. It was out of necessity. And I know that if I'm not the only guy that struggles to keep equipment clean. There's guys all across the country that work for a living that need to keep equipment clean. So that's why we got started.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts from you, Brian? Anything you want to add to that?
we just wanted to start a business and be able to use really simple guiding principles from life in business. Treat others how you want to be treated. Customers, whether that have an issue with shipping or questions about a product, always respond promptly and treat others how you want to be treated. Always want an America first business, being able to help and create American jobs and serve other proud Americans. And then on our website is In God We Trust. So we're also a faith-based business. We try to incorporate in life principles in business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just starting a business is obviously very difficult, but going the kind of direct-to-consumer e-commerce route kind of has its own complexities. And I know paid media is a huge portion of that in terms of driving sales volume, driving awareness for the brand, all those important things, and scaling profitably. I would love to talk with you guys about problems that you had with scaling paid media or trying to figure out that side of the business before working with us here.
Yes, so there's an old saying in business, great people and talent is hard to find. It's even harder to keep them. And you essentially you pay for what you get. So you can try to do things yourself or hire overseas some businesses, but you have to ask yourself if you're really trying to build a great company. There's a lot of competition with any sort of business, especially physical products, e-commerce. You got to come to the table with the very best people on your team that you can get. And that's why through pain and suffering, we finally landed on Sulka Search, Sulka Labs. We'll put our best people, we'll put our paid media effort and team Sulka against anybody out there. And it's allowed us to scale inside of 12 months from 0 to 2 million plus revenue across all platforms.
That's fantastic. I think something that's really important for other businesses and for you guys too is to work with a partner that has a really strong conviction about the business, about the products, about the customers, about the mission behind it. How would you describe, on the agency side, our understanding of your brand, but also our understanding of your customer base and your values and things like that as well?
Having a media partner that has a true understanding about the products and the business and the owners and shares very similar values as far as their approach to business as yours is very important. I think it really conveys in the messaging. I think the world in the online shopper is smarter and smarter, so they're able to detect robotic general type messages. But when there's actually a lot of thought and effort put behind the messaging from your media buyer that understands truly how the products are beneficial and how they bring win situations for the customer, the business, and the media buyer, I think that's huge versus finding somebody that's just gonna give you some pie in the sky type projected numbers without really understanding your business and what it truly takes to run the business from a ROAS perspective, really helping understand dial in profitability, attention to detail on certain products and videos, and promptly adjusting budgets and pivoting as as we have to pivot with the supply chain and scaling the way at the times it makes sense to scale, and scaling profitably and maintain positive cash flow is huge. You can scale unprofitably and run into trouble quickly, or you can output the right resources in the right spots in the right time, and then you wonder why your efforts are not paying off. So having a media partner that understands the business from A to Z is one of the most important decisions you can make as the business owner.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that, Brian. Appreciate you sharing that. Greg, is there anything that you wanted to add on that front? Definitely wanted to give you a chance to speak if you had any thoughts.
So yeah, for years we believe in paying people to do what they're good at, right? So for years people have paid me to do what I'm good at, and so therefore now I've got a need to keep a truck clean. So we found, Sulka Labs, that we're going to pay somebody to do what they're good at. But not only that, we found, a company that aligns with our patriotism, aligns with our work ethic, aligns with, honoring hardworking Americans and patriots and men and women that have served our country, the veterans that are out there that we just can't say thank you enough to. But we found someone that aligns with our way of thinking and also very good at what they do. So we'll be glad to pay them for their services to help our brand grow.
Absolutely. Appreciate you sharing that, Greg. And just to speak from personal anecdotal experience, part of the reason why I initially loved the 13 Supplies brand is because my grandfather is a Vietnam vet. He served in the Army. So definitely resonate from that front. I'm glad that we are aligned on those things and have that similar background and similar approach to business and who we want to serve. So appreciate you sharing that. Brian, you did mention scale, and I know you mentioned a specific number, which was basically going from zero to $2 million annually. How much have you been able to scale your business working with us, and how has that changed, not just the business, but also just like your life in general? I know we just talked about in our call before this that you guys crossed the 30,000 unique total customer threshold. Would love to hear if you want to share any specific numbers, customers, revenue numbers, that sort of thing, and expectations for the future.
Yeah, I can say for the time that we've been working together, we were able to do more revenue than we did in all the other months combined, and at a higher profit margin, so better ROAS. Right. A good associate that I've met said, if you want to scale and grow a business, I asked him one day how he grew his business from 3 million to 3 billion. And he said the biggest key is you have to get send and delete people. And when that's companies you're working with like Sulka, basically by definition, you want to be able to send an email or send a message, delete it from your mind and know that it's taken care of. So that's been a huge thing on how it's changed our life as founders, is we can focus on what we can control and what we do well. You guys come in and you focus on what you control and what you do well, by the ultimate definition of send and delete.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with that. And that really feeds into the next question that I wanted to ask you, because when it comes to that send and delete, when you're working with an external partner, obviously you want to be in the loop of what's going on, and to what extent that varies by different businesses. Not every business wants to know all the nitty-gritty details, but communication is obviously really important when there's a lot of money on the line, when customers, when the perception of the brand is on the line. How would you describe the communication between your team and our team, and kind of like the level of detail that goes into that?
All right, say that again.
I can answer it.
You're good. How would you describe the communication between us and you? Because obviously we all want to be aligned on everything that's going on. There's a lot of dollars, a lot of different decisions being made. Just like the level of detail that goes into the communication. How would you describe that?
In a word or 2 words, very good. I like the send and delete idea. Obviously we can communicate on a messaging platform, but if there's anything that you're not sure of, you obviously, ask the proper questions. But we know that if we ask something that can be done, if it's doable, you'll make it done or get it done. And if it's not doable, you'll say so, or tell us, hey, don't, you need to, fix your expectations on what's going to happen with this or that.
Right.
One thing I'll add to that too is a lot of companies, they're going to try to make themselves super profitable, oftentimes by hiring people overseas that don't work your hours. So it can be extremely frustrating, especially on time sensitive matters, when they send you good morning messages at 1 a.m. and then by the time you are working in normal US hours, they're done for the day, so they don't answer you. So you can take a week to solve something that should take 2 minutes. And with Sulka Labs, you have your entire team is US based and works your hours, which is which is a perspective that I think they understand the business way better. And number two, the communication is spot on, timely when everybody is in the United States.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Really, the last question that I have for you guys would be just thinking about the other, whether it's founders or marketing executives or decision makers who would decide whether they wanted to work with us and help us partner them on scaling paid media. If there was someone who was watching this video who was on the fence about working with us here at Sulka Labs, what would you?
You get what you pay for. You have somebody that's responsive and does a job for you. It's worth paying them to do what they're good at.
I would tell them, if you want a partner, not just a vendor. Vendors are a dime a dozen that don't bring a lot of value. I mean, they can, but the vendors that bring value actually are partners in your business. So if you want somebody that's gonna go through the highs and lows and be a partner to helping you achieve your business goals, then I would hire Labs. If you want cheap and deal with the frustrations and have things that are reliable, there could be expensive options out there for sure. But you have to ask yourself, what are you after? If you're after building a long-term, great, sustainable business, then you're going to need long-term, great, sustainable partners. So there's an old saying by Zig Ziglar that said, you can get everything in life you want if you help enough other people get what they want. So you can help Sulka get what they want, and Sulka can help you get what you want by helping each other.
Absolutely. I don't know a better way to end this than that. Guys, I really appreciate the time and appreciate all the kind words. And just so thankful to be able to guys and partnered with you guys, like you said. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Anytime, Ben.
Yep. Very good. Anytime.